Alright folks, bringing you another remote duel local. This is actually going to be against the same Sacred Beast deck that I played in the previous video. Just to give you a heads up, how I'm doing this is I'm not like going out and picking like the best one, you know what I mean? Because it is kind of irritating to have to keep turning to the side and writing down what I draw and everything. So what I'm doing is I pick like the first game I play, I record that one, and just kind of go from there. And every other game I play from there is, you know, just without it, and I can get through it a lot quicker because I'm not turning around writing everything down and whatnot. So he's playing Sacred Beasts and I am playing Sky Strikers this time around. And I'll be honest, the deck didn't perform too well for me. But at the end of the day, I think it was way funner to play with the Sky Strikers than the big combo deck. That's just my opinion. You know, you're free to disagree. It just felt like there was actual games going on, you know what I mean? So in my first draw, I believe he is taking first. In my first draw, I got the Jamming Waves, There Can Only Be One, Mystic Mine, Afterburners, and Area Zero. So, game is about to start. And again, I should have definitely recorded the commentary directly after, because I do not remember who went first. Alright, it was me. Alright, so I play Area Zero, and what Area Zero does is it's basically a archetype-specific Pot of Desires, in a sense. So you set a card, you target that card, it can be any card except Area Zero, obviously. And then you excavate the top three, and if one of them is a Sky Striker card, you get to add it to your hand, then you shuffle everything back. And that is the AC going off. I apologize about that. Did not think of turning that off before I started making this video. Anyway, I grabbed the Widow Anchor because that is a negate. Now, I will tell you this Sky Striker deck has not been updated in a couple of ban lists. Actually, I think I did throw an extra Kagari in there. But for the most part, it has not been updated. So I only have the one Widow Anchor in there. But I don't have the, I don't have the engages, which... Jesus Christ, after the showing today, I would comfortably bring... Well, maybe not. I don't know, Engage is really, really good. Hornet Drones needs to stay limited because it can be used with so many other different decks, is the thing about that. So we're going to set everything, pass turn to him. Now, this is, like I said, this is the same, what's it called? Sacred Beast deck, and I'll go ahead and let you know I do win this round. He takes the next two rounds though, and actually, like, I think I win the second game in the tournament that I play, but then I just start. For the other two rounds, I go on a complete losing streak. But yeah. So we got the Upstart Goblin. He's going to draw a card and give me 1,000 life points. There's the Foolish Burial. He's gonna pitch something to the graveyard. And I know this is about the third time I've played this guy. I still don't know what all the Sacred Beast support cards do. I know generally what he's trying to do, but that's, you know, general isn't exact. There's Dark Beckoning Beast. I know they pretty much all allow the normal summon of another monster, for the most part. And I Widow Anchor that Dark Beckoning Beast because I don't want him to go any further into his combo. So, it doesn't negate and destroy, it just negates all of that thing's effects for the duration of the turn. And you notice I perpetually have one hand on the screen because the other hand keeps going to my control button for push to talk. And he tries to go into Link Karibo, but he cannot do that because Link Karibo requires a level 1, and Dark Beckoning Beast is a level 2. There's a decent amount of rule sharking in this video, too, which is another reason why I wanted to showcase this one. there's also a fairly decent back and forth in this game as well. So I'm activating my draw there again. By the way, the card that I drew on my draw phase was another Mystic Mine. So there's that. I put the Ray in my hand. That is, Sky Strikers really only has pretty much one main deck monster, and that's Ray. You got Rose, but I don't think Rose is nearly as good. So we're going to play Ray, and we're going to Link Summon into something. We Link Summon into Kagari, because we want to bring that, I went to Hayate? Okay. This again shows why I should be recording these as soon as it happens. Alright, so I try to go for the direct attack, and obviously he's going to Link Karibo effect that. And that was just me pointing out right there that I didn't throw away the afterburners, and I was correcting that error on my part. Alright, so Hayate still battled, so I still get to pitch a card from the deck to the graveyard. Hayate has two effects. One, it attacks directly. Two, anytime it attacks, it gets to pitch a card. You want spell cards in the graveyard with the Sky Strikers, because if you have at least three, your secondary effects start to pop off. So then we go into our other Link monster, which is the Kagari. That's where I bring out the Kagari. What Kagari does is she retrieves a Sky Striker spell from the graveyard. Obviously, it's going to be Widow Anchor. There's no reason it wouldn't be Widow Anchor. We go ahead and set that immediately, and then we link out the Kagari for the Shizuku. So essentially, like, as far as lore goes with the Sky Strikers, you're basically, it's Rey, and all the Link Sky Strikers are different armor she's equipping, is the idea behind it. Anyway, Shizuku at the end of the turn gets a search, and you can search out a Sky Striker spell card that has a different name from any of the Sky Striker spells in your graveyard. So I go for multi-roll. Multi-roll is great because it's again replenishing those spells from the graveyard to the field. So it's going to be his turn. He draws. I don't know what he drew. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I slowed the camera down and freeze framed it right there, I could probably figure it out, but I'm not too worried about it. Shizuku's other effect is he loses attack points based on how many spell cards I have in the graveyard. And that die is just me pointing out how many spells I have in the graveyard. Alright, so he's going for the Jackalope play. Simple enough, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and re-roll a number 6. I believe he rolls a 2 here. Yep. That is the Jackalope. It goes to the graveyard, which... Oh, I'm trying to remember what all the different dangers do. I believe Jackalope's effect is to get another danger card and either add it to the hand or special summon. I don't totally remember. I'll look it up. Put it in the top. Alright. We're just kind of going to let him search his card out. Like I said, I do have a Widow Anchor on the board, so if he throws out something scary, I can just negate it and steal it. Alright, Tribute summons that... Shoot, I don't even remember what that is. Fortunately, you can't really read the cards too well. He's going to try and activate that thing's effect, at which point I'm waiting in prime to use the Widow Anchor. Now, because I have 3 or more spells in the graveyard, Widow Anchor also steals it, instead of just negating its effect. And they brought this thing... Did they bring it back to 2 or did they bring it back to 3? I think they brought it back to 3. I don't know. Sky Strikers were an interesting thing because... You kind of banned 1 or 2 of their cards and they just became completely... just neutered. Which I don't agree with. Because when you do something like that, all you're doing is like, okay, so the next broken thing gets to take over, or the next broken thing you release gets to take over. Like, just give the Sky Strikers back their stuff, especially with the Dinosaur Link and Dragon Links running around. I don't think it'd be that big of a deal, but like I said, I haven't been back in the game all that long, so feel free to blast me in the comments for that statement right there. Alright, so it's my turn. He gets his guy back at the end of the turn. On this turn, by the way, I drew an Ash Blossom. This is just me playing multi-roll. So multi-roll has a protection effect, which maybe I'm just really bad at the game. I never use it. I never end up using it, I should say. But the more important thing it does, at least as far as I'm concerned, let's say I play 2 Sky Striker spells. At the end of the turn, I go into my graveyard, take 2 Sky Striker spells of different names, and then set them to the field. So now we're going to swap our armors for Kagari, and take 3 guesses to see what I'm going to get. Yep, Widow Anchor. We're going to get the Widow Anchor back. We're going to immediately set that thing. Now, I haven't activated it, so multi-roll won't get its effect, but, you know, that's the idea. And then we're going to swap out to Hayate. Hayate gets to attack directly. He's going to take another 15. And I'm going to get to pitch another card to the graveyard. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, that's because I was scrolling into the... And we get rid of an Area 0, because I just want the cards in the graveyard at this point to keep my certain cards going. Swap armor, link out, whatever you want to call it, for Shizuku. End of the turn, get my search. And this time I break out drones. Now, Hornet Drones, because it summons a level 4 warrior type monster, for the longest time it was pretty... like, you saw it in a lot of other decks besides just the Sky Strikers. I think I even experimented with it in my 6 Samurai deck for a little bit, but... oh well. And that's part of the reason why Engage got banned, because you could do Engage and Hornet Drones in separate decks and just start getting all sorts of stuff going for yourself. So we have 4 spells in the graveyard. His guys are down 400 attack points. Again, I'm not really sure what that monster is. But I play There Can Only Be One. So what There Can Only Be One does is... okay, so in the previous dinosaur videos I was talking a lot about Rivalry of Warlords, where it locks you into one type of monster. This one does something similar, but not quite. Instead of locking you into one type of monster, you can only control one type of monster of said type. At any given... how do I explain? Let's say you've got 3 spellcasters. You can only control 1 spellcaster, but you could summon up another warrior monster. So I don't know what the types of those guys are, so I was assuming this was a good play. This is, again, kind of a problem with remote duels, where I can just kind of And that's totally on my fault as a player. I should have been more careful with it and been like, okay, so what actually do you have? Let me get some information from you. Because right here I'm just explaining the card and going from there. Now, what he did was he chained his card effect, and we weren't really sure, and we just kind of wanted to speed things along, so I was just like, yeah, go for it, go ahead and activate your chain, because I believe really what should have happened is he shouldn't have even been able to have that on the field. But I'm not entirely sure. And here I am, I'm just trying to get some information right here, specifically about the Sacred Beast on the far right, because he's got Darkest Diablos, that middle card, level 5 again, I forgot what it does, and then Uriel, I believe is what that one is. And more chit-chat. Maybe I should just leave the audio in, so that you can actually hear us going at it. I mean, we didn't go at it like vitriolic or anything like that. It was just, you know, talking about the card effects and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we're going to activate another Widow Anchor. Steal his guy. And I did order some more Widow Anchors. I cannot wait for them to come in. He tries to draw a card, I Ash Blossom it. Simple as that. Was it a draw or was it a search? I think it was a search, actually. I don't remember. Because like I said, I gotta start recording these commentary streams like as soon as I do it. Alright, so he's just thinking about what he can do. He's got two big numbers on the board. I've got two small numbers. I have 5 spells in the graveyard at this point, but I think I forgot to count it. Because, you know, I had the Widow Anchor right there and didn't think about it. Which is, again, kind of another problem with the remote duels is, hey, I stole your monster. I gotta use something as a placeholder. Alright, so his Darkest Diablos goes ahead and kills my Shizuku. Now, Ray has another effect in the graveyard. So if one of my Sky Striker Link monsters dies, I can special summon Ray from the grave. It's pretty cool. And then Ray herself has a quick effect where I can link off into another Sky Striker Ace Link monster. Like I said, it's pretty much... The idea is Ray is swapping out her armors, you know, periodically as the fight's going on. That's like the lore of it. And he's just talking about his Uriel. He's explaining some of the effects for me. Nothing all that important. And yeah, pretty much anytime you see me doing those wild hand motions along with the green thing around my screen, it's me chit-chatting and explaining something. So he's ending his turn. I don't know why he didn't go after another attack. Maybe Uriel couldn't do it, I don't know. But he puts Shizuku on the board, and because he ended his turn, Yeah, I get to search out with Shizuku, and I add Hercules Base. And Hercules Base is one of those, you don't get to attack directly, but you can attack everything the opponent has. I never end up using it ever. I don't even know why it's in the deck. It has a secondary effect, but it's like I said, I never end up using it. I don't know why I have it in there. So, Widowmaker effect is no longer in effect. He gets his monster back. And we're just counting how many spells I have in the graveyard. It's currently 5, but I'm pretty sure. So we target the Shizuku, because again, if the Shizuku goes away, I get my Rose back, or my Ray back. So I get the Afterburners, Shizuku's gonna die, but I'm gonna get Special Summon Ray. And then, of course, after Special Summoning Ray, I can just link her away, which I do for Hayate. And at this point, the lock happens. Mystic Mine. Now, something important to note here that you might have seen with the There Can Only Be One. You can't, like, okay, so the Sky Striker Ace Link monsters are all machines. I cannot swap out the machines like normal, you know, as if There Can Only Be One wasn't there, because I already have a machine on the board. I can't attempt to summon another machine. That's why you kill off the Shizuku, activate the Ray effect, bringing a warrior onto the field, and then from the warrior I can turn her into a machine. So it's a little bit of play around on my own card right there. So I've got him locked with Mystic Mine, and I've got him locked with There Can Only Be One, and from this point on, it's pretty much just keep firing direct attacks with Hayate. I've got all the cards I need in the graveyard. We're good to go. Alright, he gets rid of those two to summon up a Dark Magician. Dark Magician is a spellcaster. He still has more monsters than I do, so he can't do anything. And there's a lot of deliberation going on about There Can Only Be One and Mystic Mine. So, I think most of this video is just me and him chit-chatting back and forth with each other. I draw my card. I think at this point I even stopped recording what I was drawing, because I was just like, screw it, it doesn't matter, just keep direct attacking. Takes another 15. He draws. More chit-chatting. So, I don't remember if it was this turn or the next turn, but eventually he does play Red Eyes Fusion in an attempt to summon the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Now, with There Can Only Be One, as I was saying for the Link monsters, he already has a spellcaster on the board. He cannot attempt to summon another spellcaster, which is what the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon is, last time I checked. And even if it was a dragon, well, that other Darkest Diablos guy, if I recall correctly, was a dragon as well. So he was locked into only having one dragon or one spellcaster. You are not able to attempt to summon something of a type that is already on the board. It's like Rivalry of Warlords with Zombie World. Unless it's a zombie monster, you can't attempt to summon it. Like, I could have four monsters with different names on the board, but I could not attempt to link summon them away for like Avermax or Appaloosa or Saryuja, because Saryuja was a dragon and they were all zombies. I would only be able to link summon for another zombie. So, I don't recall exactly what turn it is, but he's going to go for the Red Eyes Fusion. Jamming Waves just kills his back row, by the way. It's nothing really special. He's going to go for the Red Eyes Fusion. And we go ahead and just let him do it. He shouldn't have been able to do it. Just like he shouldn't have been able to summon Link Karibo with a level 2 monster. But at this point in the game, and as you can see from the video, we're already over 25 minutes in. And there we go, using the multi-roll effect. Since I use Jamming Waves, I get to retrieve a Sky Striker spell, but the next time I use it, it gets sent to the Banish Pile instead of Graveyard. But, yeah, he's going to use Red Eyes Fusion here, and we chit-chat for a little bit, and his assertion is that because the Dark Magician would leave the field, therefore he wouldn't have a spellcaster out there, but that's not how it works. I'm 99% sure on this one. We can talk about it in the comments section. As far as any other judge ruling I've ever heard on the subject has always said you cannot attempt to summon. But whatever, we just kind of let it go because we already have Mystic Mine up. He's got, I think at this point, like 500 life points left. It's done. It's done and over with. We want to get to the next round. And this guy does end up taking the next 2 games. I end up losing the round. I know I'm using a lot of these terms interchangeably. I apologize for that. I'll do better in the future about using the exact verbiage, but yeah, we take this round. He is going to get the, we are going to let him just have the Dark Dragoon out. He shouldn't have been able to do it, but whatever. It doesn't matter because he's still got more monsters than I do. He can't use any of its effects. So, yeah, pretty much the game is just going to end on my next turn. Yeah, and he's reading it right now. He's just like, oh, you can't target me with card effects. Well, the thing is, Mystic Mine doesn't target. It's a blanket thing. It's like Raigeki. Raigeki doesn't target. Raigeki could get over the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Same with like Dark Hole, you know, stuff like that. And here we go. There we go, calling it game. There's really nothing he could do. He didn't have enough life points left. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's that round. Like I said, the guy ended up winning the next two games against me. So I ended up going I lost 1 and 2 that time. I won 2-0 the game after that, lost 1-2 the next one against Dragon Lynx, and then I lost 0-2 against, I don't even know what you would call it, Infernoble Knights, I guess. It was a bunch of synchro spam and then smoke grenade. It was the first time I played against that sort of thing. So that's what happened there. Like I said, this was I consider this a fun duel because there was actually like interaction going back and forth. It lasted beyond just 2 turns. And Sky Strikers has had my weakest showing at the Time Vault tournaments, but you know what? I think it was my most fun deck that I played with, just because there was a fun bit of interaction going with all the games, except for the Synchro and Infernoble Knight spams. He just got his combos off, and I couldn't touch. It was one of those 5-negate boards that I couldn't touch. But other than that, I'll let you guys go. Thank you for watching, and as always, y'all have a great day.